I want you to understand that children have a high capacity to learn because they are empty. And until we empty ourselves of our own self-interest, we will never make good disciples. And so I want to move on a little bit. I want to talk to you about disciplines. Discipleship is all about discipline. Watch this. I hear something coming through. Check the mics. Discipleship is all about discipline. And the word discipline in discipleship. You can unplug me, dude. Come on, man. You unplug. You got to know your stuff over there. That's what I'm talking about. Discipline. Know your equipment. You got to know which mic goes where, man. Come on here. And there are certain, I want you to get this, there are certain disciplines that we must adhere to. And the further we slide away from them, get this, the worse we become.
Thank you, Lord.
Here's something I want you to ponder. If this church isn't what you want it to be, whatever the church becomes or whatever the church isn't is dependent upon the disciplines of its members.
Amen. Amen.
If the church ain't all that, maybe you ain't all that.
Amen.
Oh, y'all better hear me over here. If things ain't the way it should be, maybe you doing something you shouldn't be doing. Maybe you ain't on point. Come on, talk to me.
Amen.
Because the church becomes the greatness or the lessness of the church is predicated on the discipline of its membership.
Amen. Lord.
How come we can't get to church before the praise team come on?
Amen.
Missed some good music this morning. Come on, talk to me.
Amen.
How come we can't be where we're supposed to be?
Amen.
Disciplines, man.
Thank you, Lord.
And it's our own disciplines. Watch this. Disciplines in its own way represents our freedom from bondage and self-interest. When we get free from self-interest, we will discover our purpose, and disciplining ourselves is the path to purpose.
All right.
You see, when you have a big ego, you have to find something bigger than yourself to stroke your ego. And I can't think of anything bigger than the Lord.
Amen.
The vastness of who he is.
Yeah.
Man, just trying to tap into the very essence of who he is, that's enough to keep me coming back for more. And so, when you got a big ego, you got to find something bigger than yourself. And he's bigger than anything or anybody. Amen. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? And so, one thing we have to realize is, watch this. Here's the tripped out part. One thing we have to realize is the Bible calls all of us to spiritual discipline, but hardly gives us instruction on how to do them.
Thank you, Lord.
Hold on. The Bible calls me to spiritual discipline, but rarely gives me instructions on how to do them. That don't make sense, does it?
Thank
right.
you, Lord.
But I'm gonna help it make sense to you. The answer to that is that spiritual disciplines were so commonplace back then that everybody knew how to do them.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Lord.
in the Bible, spiritual discipline was such a commonplace thing, common knowledge, that everybody knew how to do it, so they didn't have to give you instructions on it. When they said fast, everybody knew what a fast was.
Yeah.
When they called a prayer meeting, everybody knew what a prayer meeting was. It was commonplace to do them. But the time we living in now, Apostle, you got to have a seminar on how to pray.
All right.
You got to have a workshop on fasting.
All right.
Why? Because don't nobody know what it is. I remember I called the first shut-in I called. And I remember somebody said, I never heard of that before. Why? Because it's not something that we would normally do in our society.
Right. Amen.
That's right.
The reason why the Bible don't say much about what you need to do when you fast is because everybody knew the fast. They knew what a fast was. They knew what to do during the fast. They knew what to abstain from. They knew what to eat. But now we got to have seminars. We got to have conference calls. We got to have workshops on everything.
Look at preaching.
Because don't nobody know nothing.
Amen. Amen.
And we wonder why we don't have the fire and the steadfastness. Y'all right here know what I'm saying? We wonder why, my God, we don't have the drive.
All right, preacher.
Today, people are oblivious to spiritual disciplines, and we wonder why we don't have the fire and the faithfulness that people used to have.
Amen.
They don't know nothing about disciplines. All we know about is eating 3 times a day. I remember telling folks, man, I was fat. What's that? You mean to tell me you're going to go without food? You gonna go without food? What? Like, dude, man, how many times you eat? You gotta give your body rest sometimes. The reason why people were healthier and lived longer was because they knew what to put in their body, but they also knew when to shut the body down and give it rest.
That's right.
Matter of fact, listen, even the earth needed rest.
That's right.
The Lord gave the earth 7 years of rest.
Sure did.
Said, during this period of time, there will be no planting, no plowing, none of that. You harvest as much food as you can, but for the next 7 years, the earth needs rest. Even the earth needs rest.
God knew it.
Every living organism needs rest.
That's right.
So why is it that we don't give our body rest? We give it cheeseburgers, we give it pizza, we eat fried chicken, we eat all this stuff, and then wonder, act like we can't go a few days. You can just live off your body fat.
That's right.
That's
right.
Amen.
For 7 days.
Amen.
You don't think you can, but you can. But people almost lose their mind when you start talking about spiritual discipline. You mean tell me y'all gonna stay in that church all night? What you gonna do in there? I can't bring my game. I can't bring, you gonna stay there all night? Yeah. We almost lose our mind because we don't understand spiritual discipline.
Amen. Amen.
And this generation is so far gone into unbelief that we have ignored the things that make us genuine disciples.
All right.
And so I want you to understand, there's no bigger thing to reach for than the vastness of who God really is to us. And the foundation to maintaining spiritual discipline is recognizing that God is our source. Somebody say that. God is our source.
Amen.
Psalms, the 42nd chapter, verse 1 through 2 says, as the deer longs for the water brooks, so my soul longs for you, O God. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. What I want you to understand is that no matter how far we steer away from God, there's a deep-seated desire for fuller living.
That's right, Lord. That's right.
Oh, yeah. Psalm 42, verses 1 through 2. There's a deep-seated desire for fuller living, no matter where we find ourselves. Last weekend, what is it? Oh, okay. Last weekend, well, we need to fix that. I ain't been up here that long. That camera's a lot of devil in that camera. Amen. Last weekend, I'm on a vacation and just having a good time. And all of a sudden, I'm like, man, I really want to go pray. Man, I really want to spend some time with God, man. I really want to do that, but I'm on vacation. I ain't going to bother my wife because we know she carnal anyway. But there's no matter where you find yourself in life, there's a deep-seated longing to be with God. He says, as the deer longs for the water brook, so does my soul longs for you, O God. My soul thirsts for God, for the living God. And so when we are hungry and our thirst for him nags us, shallow and superficial experiences will not do.
Glory, glory.
Shallow and superficial experiences will not do. And the plight of our society is everybody's too superficial.